Dear student, welcome to this lecture on textile testing. In this lecture, I am going to discuss seam slippage and seam strength. Now, let us see what is the importance of seam. Failure at a seam makes a garment unusable even though the fabric may be in good conditions. There are a number of possible reasons which may cause failure of seam. The first thing is swing thread is either wears off or fail before the fabric does. Second is the yarn making of the fabric are broken or damaged by the needle during the swing. And third one is the seam slippage. So these are the three major factors which are responsible for failure of seam. Now, in the case of failure of the seam, the problem will arise. You have to again stitch the fabric. And what are the possible reasons for the seam failure? The first one is the wearing of the swing thread. This is purely related with the quality of the swing thread. Second one is fabric, the yarn making of the fabric are broken, damaged by the needle during seam. Here, selection of appropriate needle uh, is required during stitching. Otherwise, if the needle size is inappropriate with respect to the fabric, then there may be chance of damage of the yarn, and as a result, there is also a chance of seam failure. And third one is the seam slippage. And in this lecture, we will discuss what is the meaning of the seam slippage and how to measure seam slippage. Now, let us see what is the meaning of the term seam slippage. It is the condition where a seam in the fabric opens under the load, and it may be a temporary or a permanent deformation. See, these are the two pieces of fabric. These are the two pieces of fabric, and here this is the seam. That means here sewing thread is used to stitch the fabric. Now, when the fabric is undergone an extensive load, then what will happen? The swing threads will be visible because of opening of the seam, and this is the phenomena which is known as the seam slippage, right? And how do we measure the degree of seam slippage? We will measure the degree of seam slippage by measuring the maximum width of the seam. That means here you can say here it is a horizontally, but here it is shown it is a vertically. The seam line is vertically, but anyway, it doesn't make any difference. What I mean to say is that the seam opening is defined as the maximum width of the seam which was opened. Okay. Now, causes of the seam slippage. That means here you can see this is at this point. At this point, the width of the seam is maximum, and here and this width will give the degree of seam slippage. Higher the opening of the seam, more is the seam slippage. Now let us see what are the causes of seam slippage. A low number of warp and web threads in relation to the particular yarn and fabric. That means you can say the loosely constructed fabric. That means EPI and PPI. If these are very small, then there will be chance of seam slippage. But here this is the problem of the fabric. That means the seam slippage here is caused by the loose construction of the fabric. Now, seam allowances is too small and high force requirement is placed on the seam. That means seam is subjected to a very high force. See here you can see that if the seam is not subjected to a very high force, then this portion will never open. Okay, but if it is after stitching, if immediately it is subjected to a high degree of opening, then what will happen? High degree of load, then it will open up to a considerable extent. Next, inefficient elasticity of the seam. That means if the seam is not elastic in nature, that means if the seam does not return to its original position after extension, then also there will be visibility of this swing threads, and also too large eye in the middle. So this is basically the seam slippage. What I mean to say here, seam slippage will be measured in terms of degree of opening of the seam, and degree of opening will be calculated at the highest position. Maximum width will be measured. Okay, and this may be temporary or permanent deformation. When it is temporary, that means when the load is subjected, then seam will open. But moment the load is removed, it will return to its original configuration. But it may be permanent deformation also. Why it can be permanent deformation? Because in this case, because of the lack of elasticity, it will not reach to its original position. Now let us see what is the measurement of slippage of the seam. And here we will discuss first what are the different principles which is involved in measurement of seam slippage. Basically, there are two popular methods. One is the fixed load. Here a standard seam is put under a fixed load and the seam gap. Seam gap means opening of the seam is measured. That means what I mean to say here, the seam is subjected to a fixed load, and under this fixed load, what is the degree of opening of the seam, that is measured. And next one is the fixed seam opening. Now in this type of test, the load elongation curve is plotted with and without a standard seam, and the difference between these two curves is taken as the slippage. What I mean to say here is that here two tests needs to be performed with the fabric. One with the seam, another one without seam. Now in the case of the fabric with seam, the extension will be caused by the extension of the fabric itself and the extension of the seam. Okay, now extension of the fabric, if it is deducted, then we will be left with the fabric extension because of the extension of the seam, and that will give you the measurement, and we have to measure the load, and we have to give the value of the load which is caused the seam opening. Okay, this we will discuss in the subsequent slides. Now there are two very important parameters. One is the seam allowance. Seam allowance is basically the distance between the seam line and the adjacent fabric edge. And seam opening means distance between the yarn which have been displaced on either side of the seam line. This I will show you in the next slides. Now, this is one of the most popular method, and here the principle of the test is fixed seam opening method. That means we will consider a fixed opening of the seam. That means we will consider, say, 6 millimeter, or sometimes it is 5 millimeter also opening, and we will measure what is the load required for this much opening of the seam. So let us see the fixed seam opening method. As I have already told you, an unseamed and a seamed part of the test specimens are separately extended by using a tensile testing machine fitted with the grab test jaws to produce two forced extension curves originating from the same abscissor. In the case of use of a chart recorder, the force required to produce a specified distance between the curves equivalent to a specified seam opening is determined. As I have already told you, what is the specified distance? This specified distance is usually considered to be 6 millimeters. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to determine what is the force required to cause a seam to open by 6 millimeter, and this force will give the seam slippage. So let us see the exact test procedure. Now, one thing I'd like to mention here, that is the tensile testing machine that we will use, it should be always working on constant rate of extension, and this should be automated, or it should give the forced extension curve. Okay. Now, in the case of the most convenient instrument where this test can be performed is the Instron, because Instron is working on constant rate of extension, and at the same time, it is possible to get forced extension graph from the Instron. So first, we will see the preparation of sample, and let us see what is the how many number of samples are required. See, number of samples, it is 5, each in warp and weft direction. So we have to determine the seam slippage based on the average of 5 warp and 5 weft direction. Size of the specimen is 100 millimeter into 350 millimeter, and each sample is folded 100 millimeter from one end, and the seam is sewed 2 millimeter from the fold line as per the standard. Now it will be easier for to understand with this diagram. Now I have told you what is the size of the specimen. Size of the specimen is 100 millimeter into 350 millimeter. See, this is the 100 millimeter, and this length is 350 millimeter. Okay. Now each sample is folded 100 millimeter from one end. Now since 100 millimeter will be folded from 350 millimeter, so the length of this unfold portion will be 350 minus 100, that is 250 millimeter, and that means from this length to this length it is 250 mm, and from this length to this length it is 100 mm, and thereafter a seam is sewed 20 millimeter from the fold line. See, this is the fold line, this is the fold line, and from 20 millimeter from the fold line you have to stitch the seam. That means this is the seam line. This seam line is 20 millimeter above the fold line. So this is the fold line. That means the fabric is folded at this point, at this line, and above this 20 millimeter this is the seam line, right? Now after sewing, the folded part of the fabric is cut 12 millimeter from the fold line. Okay. Now from this is the fold line. Again I am repeating, this is the fold line and this is the seam line. This distance between the fold line and the seam line is 20 millimeter. Now thereafter 12 millimeter from the fold line you have to cut the sample. Okay, leaving the seam 8 millimeter from the cut edge. That means this is the 12 millimeter. Okay. Just before the test, the sample is cut into two parts, one with the seam and the other one without seam, but with each part containing the same set of warp and the weft threads. Now what we have to do, when we have to select the samples, we have to ensure that the same warp and same weft threads are used in the specimen. That means I have told you initially that we need two specimens. In one specimen should not be any stitch, and the second specimen there will be a stitch. Okay, and this first and second specimen should be selected in such a manner they contain the same series of warp and weft. Now, as I've already told you, a standard strength tester operating on CRE, constant rate of extension, is used. Okay, with following parameter. So this is the constant rate of extension. The jaws are changed. So this is the upper jaw and this is the lower jaw. This is the seam line. This is the seam line. Okay, and this is the seam allowance, you can say. Now, an Instron may be used because Instron is working on CRE, as well as Instron also it is possible to get force elevation diagram. Now, the width of the jaw should be 25 millimeter. Gauge length is set at 75 millimeter, and the speed of the jaw is 50 millimeter per minute. The sample without a seam is first stretched in the tensile tester up to a load of 200 Newton, and a force elongation curve just like this is drawn. I have told you, you have to produce two force elongation diagram. One is without seam, another one is the with seam. So what you have to do first, you have to first stretch the fabric which is without seam. You have to draw the force elongation diagram. That means you have to subject the fabric to a force of around 200 Newton. That means when the load onto the fabric is gradually increased, what will happen? It will also elongate in this direction, elongate. And since let us consider that this is the force elongation diagram. So this is the force elongation diagram for the sample which is without seam. Now, the same test will be repeated for the fabric which is with seam. Okay, but here we have to ensure that the load elongation curve start from the same line. That means in this case, this is the load elongation curve that is produced for a fabric which is with seam. Now you can easily understand from this that for a given load, elongation is more in case of the fabric which is seam. Now, why it is so? Because in this case, the fabric which is without seam, the elongation is produced because of the elongation of the fabric. But here, elongation is produced in the fabric because of the elongation of the fabric itself and also because of the stretching of the seam. Now, that means if you deduct the elongation due to fabric, then what will be left? That is the elongation of the seam, and exactly that is give you the seam slippage. So what you have to do, this is the load elevation curve of the sample which is without seam, and this is the load elevation curve of the sample which is with seam. And I have already told you that in the case of load elongation, in the load elevation curve, it will be more fatter. That means elongation produced will be more in the case of sample which is with seam. Now you can say that the horizontal separation between the curve is then due to the opening of the seam. This I have already told you. Now what you have to do, you have to measure what is the elongation produced as a 5 Newton load. Okay, suppose this distance is a millimeter. This distance is a millimeter. Now with this a, you add another specific displacement, say 6 millimeter. So we have to find a plus 6 millimeter distance, and what is the corresponding load? Suppose in this case the corresponding load is say around 170 or 180 Newton. Okay, now in this case the 180 Newton will give you the value of seam slippage. That means 180 millimeter, 180 Newton load will be required to produce an extension of 6 millimeter. Okay, why it is 6 millimeter? 6 millimeter we have considered the degree of opening of the seam, and here a is the elongation produced in the fabric. Okay, so this is a plus 6 and this is a. So to reduce this, so we will left with 6 millimeter. So force required to produce opening of 6 millimeter will give the seam slippage. Say it is corresponding load is 180. So 180 Newton will be the value of the seam slippage. That means we can predict the result, interpret the result in such a manner that in this case the amount of load required to produce an extension of 6 millimeter is 180. Most of the cases the extension is considered as 6 millimeter, but in some specific uses 5 millimeter elongation is also possible. Now what should be the type of swing thread, what will be the needle size, what should be the number of stitches, what should be the class of fabric, and all the specification should be as per the contract between the as per the requirement. But until and unless, that means it is required by the customer. But until and unless nothing is specified, this particular standards may be followed. That means it is for the class apparel cast fabric. What is the stringent? 100% polyester force per million filament core with staple sheath of approximate resultant linear density is 45. Text needle size is 0.90 millimeter and stitches per 100 millimeter is 50 plus minus 2. Okay, so this is as per the specification laid down in ASTM standard. This standard is to be followed until or unless there is no specific requirement from the customer. If there is a specific requirement from the customer, we have to follow their specification, right from their fabric, their swing thread, their type of needle size, and type of stitches. Okay. Now here we will consider another test, that is seam slippage test, British standard. In order to find the force required to open the seam a given distance, the separation of the curve at a force of 5 meters is measured and this distance is added to the seam opening to specified is value 6 millimeters. Next point on the curve where there is a separation of this distance is located and the value of the load at this point is read of the chart. If the curve don't reach the specified separation below 200 Newton, then the result is recorded as more than 200 Newton. That means that taking the curve I am drawn here, I have already explained this. Here also I am explaining again. That is what you have to do. First, with the specimen, you measure without seam, you have to measure the load elongation curve. Then with seam, you have to measure the load elongation curve. Okay. Now initially you measure what is the elongation, the difference in elongation at 5 Newton. Suppose this is the A. Suppose I can consider the value is, you can say it is around 3 millimeter or 4 millimeter, you can say. Okay. Now here 4 plus 6, it is a 10 millimeter. Now you see what is the corresponding load required to extend the specimen with seam by 10 millimeter. Okay. Suppose this load is say 180 that I have already told earlier. This 180. Then we can say the load required to open the seam by 6 millimeter is 180. As I've already told you that usually 6 millimeter is concerned, but in some cases 5 millimeter is also concerned. Now this is another type of seam slippage test. Earlier case we have seen the fixed seam opening method, and here it is fixed load method. What is the basic principle of the fixed load method? A strip of the fabric is folded and stitched across its width. A force is then applied to the strip at right angle to the seam using a grab press jaws, and the extent to which the seam opens for a given force is measured. That means in earlier case, in previous case, we have considered what is the force required to produce an opening of 6 millimeter. But here we will see after applying a given load, what is the seam opening? What is the value of seam opening? That means in earlier case, seam opening is fixed and we have measured the load, and in this principle, we have applied the fixed load and measure what is the seam, what is the seam opening, value of the seam opening in this case. Now, what is the value of the force that needs to be applied to determine the seam slippage depends upon the end use. For light garment, it may be 80 Newton. For heavier garment like jacket and etc., it may be 120 Newton. And for upholstery purpose, it may be 175 Newton. That means amount of force under which we have to measure the opening of the seam depends upon the end use. And you can say also the GSM of the fabric. In the case of the light garment, it is 80 Newton, and in the case of heavier garment like jacket or suitings, maybe 120 Newtons, and for the still heavier fabrics like upholstery, it is around 175 Newton. Now, let us see the complete description of the process. Here also, we have to take the average of 5 samples, one in warp direction, another one is the wave direction. Okay. Fold each sample in the halfway and see a string of 20 mm from the fold. Okay. Using the specified swing thread and the stitch details. Again, I have told you that if the swing thread and the stitch details is not specified by the customer, you can use the earlier specimen that I had shown. That specimen, that standard is given in the A standard. Otherwise, if there is a specific requirement of the customer, we have to follow the own specimen. Okay, now what is the size of the sample? 200 mm into 100 mm. Okay. Cut off the fold 12 mm from the fold line. Set the tensile tester as follows. Gauge length will be 75 mm. Speed is 50 mm per minute, and the width of the jaw is 25 mm. So this is the width of the jaw. That means you can say graph test procedure is followed. And you know the graph test, the width of the jaw is always less than the width of the fabric. Okay. So this is the width of the fabric, and this is the width of the jaw. You can see very easily that the width of the fabric is higher than that of the width of the jaw. And because of the application of the load, this is the seam line. The seam opens by this amount. Okay, and this we have to measure. Increase the load to 175 Newton and hold at that point for 2 minutes. That means gradually you have to increase the load, and moment 175 Newton is reached, you have to stop the application of load. And you have to hold the sample for 2 minutes. That means sample should be under 175 Newton for 2 minutes. Right? Now, thereafter, you reduce the load and again hold the sample for further 2 minutes when the load is 2.5 Newton. Okay. Now, measure the width of the seam opening at its widest place in the nearest 0.5 mm. That means here you can say the degree of seam opening, it is not a circular, rather it is one sort of elliptical. That means the width will vary. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to take the maximum width. Okay, and it should be accurate up to 0.5 mm. That means when you measure the width of this opening, the accuracy level should be at least 0.5 mm. Next, for carry out the test for warp and wave direction and determine this on the basis of average of 5 warp direction and 5 wave direction. Now, if we compare the two tests, fixed load method and fixed seam opening method, both the test has got certain advantage and disadvantage. This fixed load method is simple and easier to carry out because for each test here only one sample needs to be tested, because here there is no need to carry out the testing of the original sample without seam. Only the sample with seam you have to carry out. But in earlier case, where to follow the fixed seam opening method, in this case, we have to carry two tests for each specimen. That means one without seam and second one with seam, because you have to deduct the value of stretching under a fixed load, which is purely because of the fabric. Okay, because we are in the earlier case, we are interested what is the force required to produce a fixed seam. Okay, now it is very difficult to determine the degree of opening of the seam with any accuracy. Why it is so? It is not always obvious where the seam opening starts and finishes. Okay, that means if you consider the degree of accuracy, here it is this, but here it is advantageous because only one test needs to be carried out for each system. But if you consider the fixed seam open method, you have degree of accuracy is more, but for each test you have to carry out you need two tests to be carried out. That means that one is time consuming but more accurate, and here it is less accurate but less time is required. Now this is the seam strength. It is easier to understand what is the meaning of the seam strength. Suppose you have to produce a seam here and you have to determine what is the strength of this seam. And the seam efficiency is expressed as a percentage of total fabric strength. Generally 60 to 80% is requirement. Okay, and depends on a lot of factors like stitch density, type of the seam, type of swing rate, etc. That is not I am going to discuss here. Here I am going to discuss what is the test procedure. There are two geometries are used. One is the transverse, another is the longitudinal. Geometry means here you have to consider the direction of the seam and direction of the force. Here you can say the force is applied in this direction and the seam is in this direction. That means they are mutually perpendicular to each other. But here you can say the seam is also in this direction, load is also applied in this direction. So in the method A, the force and seam, they are 90 degrees with each other, but in the case of method B, they are parallel with each other. Okay. The test specimen is mounted centrally between the upper and lower jaw. This is the upper jaw, this is the lower jaw. With the seam perpendicular or parallel, here it is perpendicular and here it is parallel. And the sample is then stretched at a constant rate. Here also we have to use the constant rate of extension. Record the load when the rupture occurs in a transfer test and the longitudinal test when the first sign of seam ruptures occur. Remember, in the case of the transverse, you can easily understand what is the breaking point of the seam. But in the case of longitudinal, it is not possible to understand the breaking point. So here you have to note the load when just it is on the point of seam rupture. Okay, and also if the fabric, sometimes it may quite happen, if the fabric ruptures prior to the seam rupturing, this should be mentioned in the test report. Why this? When this type of situation may arise, if there is any damage produced in the fabric which is not visible. What sort of damage? If the fabric is in the store for a long period of time and if it is a cotton fabric, then there is a chance of formation of the mild deformation. Then there will be the local degradation in the fabric because of the degradation of the cellulose, and when the load is applied, then the fabric will rupture because the failure of the seam. So this also needs to be incorporated in the test report. So seam strength, it is very simple. You have to take the sample, midway you have to give the stitch, either direction of the force or perpendicular to the direction of the force. And then the fabric is subjected to a tensile loading in a constant rate of extension, and you measure exactly the point when the seam rupture takes place in the case of transverse geometry. Okay. And in the case of longitudinal, we have to measure the force just when the first sign of seam failure occurs. Okay. So this is all about the seam strength and the seam slippage. Again, I am telling, in the seam strength and seam slippage depends on the type of the seam thread. It also depends upon the other specification also that is beyond the scope of the syllabus. Here we are interested to measure the seam slippage and seam strength. Seam slippage, it can be measured by two ways: fixed load method, that means applying a fixed load of 175 Newton, you can measure what is the degree of seam opening. Okay, and in the fixed extension method, here you will measure what is the load required to produce an extension of 6 mm of the seam. Extension of the seam means the seam will open by 6 mm, right? So this is all about your seam slippage and seam strength, and the next video will be on comfort properties of extension. Okay, just a moment.